All right. So are you ready to kind of dive into a true crime rabbit hole with us today?
Always.
Okay, good. Because we're tackling the Circleville Letters.
Okay.
And this is a case that'll leave you looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine a small town
Right.
where like anonymous letters start appearing
Oh, yeah.
filled with secrets, accusations, and threats.
Yeah, it's,
It sounds like a bad soap opera plot.
it does sound like a soap opera.
But for the residents of Circleville, Ohio, this was all too real.
Oh, absolutely.
And the biggest mystery of all,
What's that?
well, who was the writer?
Right.
And how did they know so much about everyone?
Well, you know what makes this case so fascinating?
Mm.
It's how it preys on that fundamental small town dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows everyone else's business,
Mm-hmm.
but in Circleville, that familiarity became a weapon.
Oh.
The letters didn't just contain generic gossip.
Yeah.
They were laser focused, packed with details only someone close to the victims could have known.
Okay, let's unpack the beginning. It all started in 1976 with Mary Gillespie.
Okay.
She was a school bus driver, and she starts receiving these poison pen letters.
I see.
By the way, for those who don't know, a poison pen letter is basically an anonymous letter filled with nasty rumors, accusations, or threats.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually pretty common throughout history, but,
Right.
well, the Circleville ones were different.
Okay.
These weren't just mean-spirited. They were incredibly specific.
And unsettling.
Yes, and unsettling.
Yeah, and they escalated quickly.
Oh.
First, the letters accused Mary of an affair with the school superintendent.
Which she denied.
Which she denied, yeah.
Yeah.
But then they threatened her family,
Oh, wow.
her job,
Really?
even her life.
Oh, my gosh.
This wasn't just about ruining her reputation.
Right.
It felt deeply personal.
Yeah.
It's like the writer wanted to isolate and control her.
The thing is,
Yeah.
Mary wasn't the only one targeted.
Oh, no.
Soon, other Circleville residents started receiving these letters, all with that same eerie level of detail about their personal lives.
Wow.
Imagine checking your mailbox,
Right.
expecting like a birthday card,
Yeah. Yeah.
and instead you get a letter
Yeah.
accusing you of infidelity
Huh.
or revealing a secret you thought was buried.
Oh, that's scary.
Talk about a chilling breach of privacy.
And you have to remember the context here.
Yeah.
This was 1976.
Yeah, no internet.
No internet, no social media.
Right.
The mailbox was a lifeline to the outside world.
Hmm.
To have that violated
Yeah.
with such malicious intent,
Yeah.
it really shook the community's sense of security.
It's almost like the writer understood the power of that fear.
Absolutely.
They weren't just spreading rumors.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
exploiting the very fabric of small town life,
Mhm.
that web of relationships and trust.
Yeah.
And speaking of fear,
Okay.
things took a seriously dark turn in 1977
Wow.
with the booby trap incident.
Oh, wow. This is where the case transitions from creepy letters to a genuine threat to life. It shows a disturbing level of planning
Oh, yeah.
and a willingness to cross the line from words to physical harm.
So Mary's driving her school bus route one day,
Okay.
and she spots a sign.
A sign.
Yeah, on the side of the road right on her route.
Oh, wow.
It had a vulgar message aimed at her young daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
So understandably,
Yeah.
she stops to rip it down.
Okay.
But here's where it gets scary.
What's that?
Attached to the sign was a box
A box.
containing a rigged shotgun.
Oh, my God.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
It is.
The fact that the gun malfunctioned is pure luck.
Mm-hmm.
If it had fired,
Right.
we'd be looking at a very different story.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a prank.
Right.
It was an attempted murder.
Attempted murder. Yeah.
The police obviously took this incident
Huh.
very seriously.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Finally, they had something tangible to investigate,
What's that?
the gun.
The gun.
And you know what? They traced it back to Paul Freshour,
Pressure.
Mary's brother-in-law.
Now, at first glance, this seems like an open and shut case.
Right.
You have the victim,
Mm-hmm.
a clear motive,
Family drama.
family drama, yeah, and a weapon linked directly to the suspect.
Yeah.
Plus, Freshour's wife claimed he held a grudge against Mary.
Oh, really?
It's
How?
easy to see why the police zeroed in on him.
In 1983, Freshour was convicted of attempted murder
Okay.
and sentenced to 10 years in prison.
10 years.
Yeah, you'd think that would be the end of the Circleville Letters, right?
You would think so, right?
Wrong.
Oh, no.
Even with Freshour behind bars,
Yeah.
the letters kept coming.
What?
They were postmarked from all over Ohio.
Real?
Some even taunting the authorities,
Taunting.
claiming they'd never catch the real writer.
Wow.
One letter even included the chilling line.
Go on.
Try to pin this on me. I am still here.
Wow. Okay, so now things are officially mind-boggling.
Right.
We're left with a few wild possibilities.
Okay.
Either Fresh Hours somehow managed to orchestrate this from prison.
Which, let's be honest,
Yeah.
seems incredibly difficult.
Incredibly difficult. Yeah. Or he had an accomplice on the outside, someone loyal enough to carry on the letter writing campaign.
Right.
But that raises the question, why?
Right.
What would compel someone to involve themselves in this twisted scheme?
Or, and this is where it gets really interesting,
Okay.
what if Fresh Hour was innocent all along?
Okay.
What if the real Circleville letter writer was still out there,
Right.
pulling the strings
Yeah.
and framing him?
That's precisely what makes this case so compelling.
Yeah.
The continuation of the letters throws everything we thought we knew into question. It's like we're at the beginning of the mystery all over again.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
It sounds good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Circleville Letters.
Okay.
Last time, we left off with a real head-scratcher.
Oh, yeah.
The letters continued even after the prime suspect, Paul Freshour, was behind bars.
Right.
Talk about a plot twist.
It is quite the twist.
So today, we're going to put on our detective hats
Okay.
and really dig into the theories surrounding this case.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing,
Mm-hmm.
but that's also what makes it so fascinating.
Right.
We have to sift through the evidence,
Yeah.
consider the motives,
Right.
and explore every possible angle.
Let's start with the most obvious theory. Freshour was guilty, but had an accomplice on the outside.
Okay.
Maybe someone he met in prison or a loyal friend who believed in his innocence.
Right.
This would explain how the letters kept appearing, right?
It's a possibility,
Yeah.
but a tricky one to prove.
How so?
Well, think about the logistics involved.
Okay.
Smuggling letters out of prison,
Yeah.
mimicking Fresh Hour's handwriting or typing style,
Right.
knowing the intimate details of the victims to keep the letters convincing.
Mm-hmm.
It would require a high level of dedication,
Yeah.
not to mention risk.
And wouldn't someone have talked by now? It's been decades.
It has been a long time.
You'd think guilt or maybe a hefty reward would have motivated someone to spill the beans.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, the accomplice was also deeply embedded in the community.
Okay.
Someone with just as much to lose if their involvement came to light.
Oh, I see.
Imagine the pressure to stay silent,
Yeah.
the fear of becoming the next target.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
It turns the whole town into a suspect pool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the accomplice theory has some holes.
Right.
Let's explore the complete opposite.
Okay.
What if Freshour was innocent?
All right.
The letters continuing while he's locked up definitely supports this.
It's a compelling argument.
Yeah.
If we assume Fresh Hour was framed, it paints a whole new picture of the case.
Oh, okay.
We're no longer looking at a simple act of revenge,
Mm.
but a carefully calculated scheme designed to put him behind bars.
But then who was the real writer?
Right.
And what was their end game?
Yeah.
Was it someone who wanted to punish Freshour specifically?
It's possible.
Or were the other victims just collateral damage?
This is where things get really murky.
Yeah.
We have to consider the possibility that the letters were a smokescreen for something bigger,
Oh, okay.
a distraction from a more serious crime,
Interesting.
or a personal vendetta that ran deeper than anyone initially suspected.
Okay, I love a good conspiracy theory.
Don't we all?
Let's break this down.
Right.
We're talking about someone with a master plan, right?
Yeah.
Someone who knew how to manipulate events
Right.
and use the letters to their advantage.
Precisely.
Mm.
Imagine a scenario where the real perpetrator was involved in something illegal,
Okay.
maybe embezzlement or drug trafficking.
Yeah.
And they needed to create chaos to divert attention from their own activities.
So the letters become a weapon of misdirection.
Exactly.
They terrorize the town.
Right.
The police focus on the wrong suspect.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the real culprit is free to operate in the shadows.
It's a bold strategy.
Yeah. It's incredibly risky,
Mm-hmm.
but potentially effective.
Yeah.
The chaos caused by the letters could easily overshadow their own misdeeds.
But it would take a certain type of person to pull this off.
Right.
We're not just talking about a petty criminal here.
No, we're not.
This is someone with a calculating mind,
Mm-hmm.
a knack for manipulation,
Right.
and a willingness to inflict fear to achieve their goals.
And let's not forget the resources required to keep this going for years.
Yeah, like what?
The knowledge of the victims' lives,
Right.
the ability to send letters from various locations,
Mm-hmm.
the psychological stamina to stay hidden while orchestrating this elaborate scheme?
It almost makes you wonder if we're looking for a single mastermind.
Right.
Or if there were multiple people involved.
Multiple.
Each playing a part in this twisted game.
Maybe not a secret society,
Right.
but the idea of multiple writers could explain some of the inconsistencies in the letters.
Oh, okay. How so?
Some were neatly typed.
Right.
Others were handwritten.
I see. Suggesting different authors.
And if we're talking about a group,
Yeah.
it changes the dynamics completely.
How so?
They could have shared information,
Mm-hmm.
resources,
Yeah.
and maybe even rotated writing duties to make it harder to track them down.
It also adds a layer of psychological complexity.
Oh, in what way?
Well, were they motivated by a shared grudge?
Mm-hmm.
Did they get a thrill out of manipulating and controlling their community?
Right.
Or did they simply enjoy the power that came with anonymity?
Speaking of anonymity,
Yes.
let's shift gears and talk about the victims.
Okay.
These weren't just names on a piece of paper.
No, they were not.
They were real people whose lives were turned upside down by these letters.
Absolutely. Imagine the paranoia,
Yeah.
the constant fear of being watched,
Mm-hmm.
the suspicion that anyone, even your closest friend or family member,
Yeah.
could be the writer.
It's like a real-life version of The Crucible,
Right.
where suspicion breeds more suspicion,
Yeah.
and the community starts to unravel from within.
And the impact went beyond the immediate victims.
In what way?
The letters had a chilling effect on the entire town.
Really?
People became hesitant to speak their minds,
Oh, wow.
afraid to express dissenting opinions
Yeah.
for fear of attracting the attention of the letter writer.
So the writer wasn't just attacking individuals.
Wrong.
They were attacking the very fabric of the community,
Right.
eroding trust, silencing dissent,
Mm-hmm.
and creating an atmosphere of fear and self-censorship.
It's a stark reminder that even in a small town,
Yeah.
seemingly idyllic on the surface,
Right.
there can be dark undercurrents,
Mhm.
secrets that fester,
Yeah.
and resentments that can turn deadly.
The Circleville Letters case is like peeling back layers of an onion. The more we delve into it,
Right?
the more complex and unsettling it becomes.
And that's precisely why it continues to captivate our imagination.
Yeah.
It's a mystery that defies easy answers,
Mm-hmm.
a puzzle with missing pieces, and a story that forces us to confront the darker aspects of human nature.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Circleville Letters. You know, as we wrap up, I'm left with this one lingering question.
What's that?
What happened to Circleville after the letters just stopped?
Yeah.
Did the town ever truly recover?
It's like a ghost story that continues to haunt the town,
Yeah.
even though the actual haunting is over.
Right.
The letters may have ceased in the early 1990s,
Mm-hmm.
but the scars they left run deep.
It's easy to imagine that sense of unease lingering. Like
Yeah.
you'd walk down the street, see your neighbors and wonder, was it them?
Yeah.
Did they write those letters?
Right.
Do they know something I don't?
That's the insidious thing about anonymity.
Yeah.
It breeds suspicion.
Right.
And suspicion can poison even the strongest relationships.
Hmm.
It's no wonder that Circleville struggled to rebuild trust after such a prolonged period of fear and uncertainty.
So the letters stopped.
Mhm.
The case went cold. But life in Circleville couldn't just magically go back to normal.
I see what you mean, yeah.
What about Paul Freshour?
Right.
He was released from prison in 1993, maintaining his innocence until his death in 2012.
Right.
Did he ever find peace?
It's hard to imagine how he could have,
Yeah.
even though he was released.
Mm-hmm.
The cloud of suspicion never fully lifted.
Right.
To some, he remained the prime suspect,
Yeah.
forever linked to this bizarre and unsettling case.
It's a tragic reminder that even when someone is cleared of a crime,
Yeah,
the stigma can linger.
absolutely.
The whispers, the sidelong glances, the doubt,
Right.
it can follow you for a lifetime.
It makes you think about the nature of justice.
Yeah. In what way?
Well, is it enough to be legally exonerated?
Hmm.
Or does true justice require something more?
Like what?
The restoration of reputation,
Right.
acknowledgement of harm,
Yeah.
the rebuilding of trust.
Those are questions that go beyond the Circleville Letters case. They speak to the broader human experience
Right.
of being accused, judged, and sometimes wrongly condemned by public opinion.
And they highlight the need for compassion,
Yeah.
for understanding that even in the absence of definitive proof,
Hmm.
the impact of accusation and suspicion can be devastating.
Okay, so we're left with a town
Right.
still grappling with the ghost of the Circleville Letters,
Yeah.
victims who may never fully heal,
Right.
and a suspect who, whether guilty or innocent, carried the weight of this mystery to his grave.
Yeah, it's It's heavy stuff.
What lessons can we learn from this? It feels like a cautionary tale on so many levels.
One of the biggest takeaways for me is the corrosive power of anonymity.
Mm.
It's easy to dismiss online trolls or anonymous hate mail as just words,
Yeah.
but the Circleville letters show us how those words can escalate,
Right.
how they can fuel paranoia, sow discord, and even lead to violence.
It's a reminder that words have consequences,
Absolutely.
even when the speaker is hidden. In a way, the Circleville letter writer was a master manipulator,
Yeah.
understanding how to exploit human vulnerability,
Right.
our fear of exposure,
Mm-hmm.
our tendency to believe the worst,
Right.
our fascination with gossip.
And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in combating this kind of toxicity.
Yeah.
We need to be critical consumers of information,
Okay.
questioning anonymous sources, resisting the urge to spread rumors, and focusing on building strong, supportive communities.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah,
Instead of tearing each other down with suspicion and gossip,
right.
we should be lifting each other up with empathy and understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the antidote to the poison of the Circleville letters.
And perhaps that's why this case continues to fascinate us.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly idyllic communities.
Right.
But it also challenges us to be better,
Mm.
to build a world where trust and compassion prevail over fear and anonymity.
Well said. The Circleville letters may remain a mystery,
Yeah,
but the lessons they offer are timeless.
I agree.
They teach us about the power of words,
Right.
the fragility of trust,
Mm,
and the importance of seeking truth even when it's elusive.
absolutely.
And they remind us that sometimes the most important answers aren't found in a neat resolution,
Right.
but in the questions that linger,
Yeah.
the conversations we have,
Yes.
and the choices we make in our own lives.
All said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Circleville letters.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We hope you found this exploration as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did.
It was a good one.
Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay safe out there.